bunch of guys asked me how to make a stringer tank like I wear at the gym. So I finally got down to doing it. What you need is obviously a t-shirt that you're going to cut down. It can either be a plain one or one with printing on it. I usually like to get shirts custom printed with whatever the design is as low down as possible, so I can expose as much chest as possible. Unfortunately, the company screwed up and they printed it way high up and larger than it should have been, so that it's gonna not turn into the best shirt, but it gives you the idea. And then, especially if it's a dark shirt, a piece of tailor's chalk. I also have white, but I can't find it. Blue should be good enough. And obviously you need to take your shirt off if you're wearing one because it gets too bulky. So you put your shirt on. And make sure it's all even. So then what I do is, and getting close so I can see the picture is, you go to just where the collar is, because I hate collars, and make a line. And this is going to come down and across. I don't know if you can see the line. It's not too dark, or too light, but I can just see it. And then I'm going to make another line here. Unfortunately, we're going to have to, I'm going to sacrifice a little less of the writing. Come down and about here and around. So then take the shirt off. And for the back, I can't draw on my back, so I'm going to have to approximate it based on what I see here. I usually like a really narrow back, so hang on a second. Okay, so now let me orient you. That's the neck right there. Straighten that out. And that's the left arm I was drawing on the left side. So for the collar, we're basically just going to follow the collar around, maybe just a little bit lower. And you only go halfway. And then you have to look on the other side to see. And this actually is a little narrower than we want it to be, so I'm going to move it out a little bit, because if you get too narrow, it frays, and if you miss the cutting, you totally will screw it up because you won't have a strap. And I'm going to come in so it's fairly narrow, show off the lats, and we need to look as to where we ended up on the front, and you turn it over and it's hard to see, but the line is right here. So I'm going to mark that with my finger, and I'll come back here and do my best at holding it flat and creating a fairly natural arc. Okay, look at the other side now. Flip it back over. And I'm going to move this line out a little bit, and this comes in right along the collar. And we're going to come in you really only go about halfway. Okay, hang on, we're going to reorient. Okay, so now your shirt is marked, and you're saying, but he only marked half the shirt. Yeah, because you want it to be symmetrical on the two sides, or reasonably symmetrical. So what you're going to do is you're going to fold the right side of the shirt into the left side. So I'm pulling this through, and this shirt the sleeves have seams on the bottom, so you have to line them up on the bottom. Okay. And then line up the shoulder seams. Okay. And then you're going to do your best to fold this down the middle. And unfortunately, this shirt doesn't have side seams, so you have to sort of hold it. You have to hold it at the sleeve and what you hope is the middle of the sides, and then look to see. Fortunately, I have a pattern with a triangle that's centered, so I can center that. You have to actually, unfortunately, I have to open it up again. Pull it flat and pull these two parts together, and then pull the collar together, which you can determine. This is a really tricky one for a first time. Okay. Okay, so now lay it out like that, and we have our shirt to start cutting. So you have to make sure that it's flat, so you're going to get both sides of the shirt together at the same time. Okay, what's going on here? Okay, there we go. And just double check your seams. I have big scissors, and I usually like to cut where the shoulder seam is. You have to get real close. Okay. And once you do that, you lay out your shirt, and you can slip scissors in here. I like to do the inside seam first because it can't be moved, and the outer seam, or outer, not seam, but outer cut can be moved. And I'm following my line, trying to keep the fabric flat on the bottom. Okay. And now we're going to go and do the collar. Again, make sure it's symmetrical, folded carefully, and cut on the inner line. Done. Okay, now we're going to do this one again, the seam that is. And I find it's easier, because I'm right-handed, to cut with the line to the left, or so that I can see where the line is. It's not hidden by the scissors. And I made a little cut at the shoulder, and I come down, making sure the layers are flat. A little tension. Trying to make as smooth a cut as possible. I have to see, I might want this actually to be a little deeper on the sides, but I notice that things tend to end up lower than you think they're going to be, so I usually start up higher, and that is even too low. But you can always cut it a second time or a third time if you need to. Here we go. And even the, and I mean, part of it is eyeing. I don't necessarily follow the line exactly because it sometimes is not where I want it to be. And uh-oh, things slipped. So just reach under. You don't want to have one front strap that's like 1/8 of an inch long because it may not survive. And off a little bit, but I'm going to pull the bottom layer out, and this is where it's wider, so it's okay, and we'll make do. I can always even them up later if I need to. And we're almost done. Okay, so now you have the shirt that's been cut. Untangled from itself. Let me try it on. See how the tailoring went. See, I thought that was not deep enough on the sides, and it was just deep enough. Covers a little more of the upper chest than I'd like. Whoops. Well, so much for that. That's why you don't want to cut them too short. But that was basically the idea. And wasn't really that narrow. Just crummy material. But anyway, that was the idea.